Hey fellow Rangers, it's me, Mario. Today we're still talking a bit about Great Western Trail buildings. Finally, we're finishing up the series. So, today we're gonna talk about 6B, which along with the previous 6A is one of the two buildings that probably got nerfed the most by the second edition. So what does this building do? This building will let you copy any building that's adjacent to it, be it a neutral building, be it one of your buildings, or be it an enemy's opponent's building. It's pretty spicy, isn't it? This used to be part of the infamous combo of 8B, because this building used to be 8B and 10B, and the combo went so that you placed one close to another, and you simply took this action twice in the same turn. So you took 8 coins, 8 train movements, and finally 4 steps and another action wherever you wanted to stop. That was sick. It was part of the reason because of which, at least in 4 players and in 3 players, in the first edition of Great Western Trail, builders were probably head and shoulders above the other strategies in most games, or at least in the games where these two buildings were into the game. So, and this building used to cost 6 builders, so it was even more expensive than it is now. So why is it nerfed? Why can't you go for this combo now? Simply because in the second edition, a little rule was added that said that you cannot take the same action from the same building twice. So basically, it was just nerfing this building. You cannot copy this building and immediately stop onto it again. So it doesn't work anymore, because since you need to have these two buildings adjacent to use this one copycat ability, you cannot, you can take this building action, but then you have to stop on another building. You cannot stop on 10B, because if you stop on 10B, you cannot take that action again. So basically the combo is broken. That said, this building is still quite relevant. Well, first off, it's still a 4 builders building, which means that normally is the stepping stone towards 10B. So you're gonna build it, maybe use it once. Sometimes you can pull off some nasty combo like placing it close to the building so that you can take that action twice per loop, or at least on that loop. While this seems pretty sick and incredibly strong, it actually isn't most of the time, just because you don't get enough coins most of the time to really abuse this 1-2 punch. So normally one build action is alright, and the other ones you would like to get it by getting more builders. So this used to be a sick combo when it costed 6 builders, because normally what you did was go up to 4 builders, build whatever 4 builders building you had available. Then on the next loop, or even on the same one, upgrade it to 10B. And on the next loop, get 6 builders and get this one immediately close to this one. So that was pretty strong. Right now, in this situation, for example, you have only 1 level 4 building. Sometimes you have 2, depending on if you have 11A or 11B. I might be mistaken. No, it's 12. It's the 12 building that can be 3 or 4. I'm pretty sure it's 12A. That it's the other 4 builders building. But if you don't, most of the time you're just gonna plop this one down and then upgrade it to 10B. But still, this building is very relevant for 2 reasons. One reason is that you can use it to copy somebody else, like 4B for example, so that you can still adjust your loop. I know that it doesn't tax, but for one time, using this building to accelerate your loop and then upgrade it later on to 10B is pretty important. So normally copying 4B, sometimes 4A, but 4B is more important because of the 3 steps, of course. But the other thing because of which this building is incredibly relevant is when there are 2 builder players in the same game. This happens most of the time when you're playing 4P. And if you have 2 builders in the same game, they each other have to be really careful not to leave an opening close to their own 10B, because if you invest a lot of action, a lot of coins to get 10B, and your opponents can simply plump down their 6B close to your 10B, then it's a big problem for you because they accelerate their loop incredibly. They got the best building ever because, again, we're going to see it, but if you read one of my articles on the BGG forum, you already know that the two 10A and 10B are the two most powerful buildings in the game. If you are gonna copy somebody else 10B or even 10A, of course, without investing as much as he did, you're gonna be in a big advantage. So this is why this building is really important still. It's more something you need always to be aware of. There are too many combos. I cannot list all the combos you can pull off with this building, because remember that you can also take the extra action on the hazard spots. So sometimes, like if the building is down here, you might actually find yourself building 6B over here and then being able to build twice on one loop. Of course, you don't want to do it many times. Sometimes you can even work with something less exciting, like just with the building that gives you bandits. You can have it over here and you can copy it so that you can, on top of a good action for you, which is like getting coins from a bandit and getting the auxiliary actions, you're even ditching a 1 cow and 2 coins. So it's pretty flexible, these buildings. There are a lot of things you can pull off with it. You're not gonna play it if you're not going for builders most of the time. It's very rare that you have 2 builders and you go for 4B, 4A, and then you want to upgrade it into this one, just because both 4B and 4A are very strong. 4B is, I mean, related to its cost, 4B is unquestionably the strongest building in Great Western Trail. Of course, if you go for builders, you're going to look at the 10 buildings, but 4B is just amazing. And 4A is also very, very good. So normally you want to go for 6B only if you're gonna go for full builder, or if you're gonna go up to 4 builders and then maybe pivot to something else. This is also something you can do depending on how the game is going, how many coins you have, where the head market is on the loop. The head market being the building that will let you get workers, also known as neutral building A. But the most important thing you're gonna see people dance around when 6B is in the game is if there are 2 builder players and you are trying to copy the other player's 10B. So most of the time 10B is gonna be like sandwiched between 2 other buildings, one of your buildings and the neutral building, just to protect it from being copied from 6B. If the risk is there, you know, because sometimes, again, both of the builders player are gonna speed out 6B early on with a plan of upgrading it to 10B, so maybe the risk is not even there. But it's just something that if you're watching this video and you're still not that used to high-level Great Western Trail, you should be aware of. This building can be pretty nasty. Of course, in the late game, it can happen sometimes that you can copy like 11A, so that you can take twice this action, but this is something that happens very rarely, and it's more of a tactical grab, because most of the time in Great Western Trail, as you know from my main video, you don't want to take one step and take another action immediately after, which is what 6B will force you if you're not copying a 3-step building like 4B or 10B. Because taking these 2 actions might be really strong, but normally you want to advance faster on the loop. So this is again something that can happen really rarely. It's something you should keep in mind, of course, but I don't think it's something you should plan around. Alright, I would say that that's it. It's a short video about 6B, but hopefully now you know which traps you can fall into if you're playing against experienced players, and you got a bit more of an idea of how to use this expensive but still pretty decent, pretty interesting building. Alright, that's it. Mario's out. Bye bye.